Hey guys, another review. This time it is Tecnifibre TF40 315 16x19 string pattern. I really like this frame and line for its feel. The racket is very whippy, low swing wave, relatively thin beam. I like to think that Fernando Verdasco could be playing with it, and Tecnifibre team, for a reason, has a warm spot in their hearts, remembering the times where Verdasco was using their racket. And yeah, TF40 is an anniversary edition. They released this racket to celebrate 40 years of existence. So maybe there are some connections. Yeah, let's go to this review. TF40, let's go. TF40 to me is a mix between rackets like Prestige and Blade. The specs are relatively low, so it is quite easy to move around the racket, but the slightly thicker beam just shifts the power potential, the stability and the overall feel of the frame in the hands towards Blade. It gives me some solutions that I would like from each rackets, I mean Prestige and Blade, but it also introduces some other issues. For example, let's take the Prestige line. I really like the wave distribution of the Prestige Pro, the solidness, the feel, the plow through, and at the same time the whippiness of the racket is almost perfect, but 18-20 string pattern is a bit demanding. I feel it especially on serves and maybe on defense. TF40 with 16-19 string pattern offers you a bit more spin potential, a bit more forgiveness, so it is a bit easier to perform well with. So yeah, it is a solution to the Prestige Pro family. I always wanted to try Prestige Pro in 16-19 string pattern, so TF40 is maybe the closest racket right now available to the public that you can try and experience this kind of mixed philosophies of control with spin. And compared to Blade, I like the plow through, I like the stability, but the head heavy balance and the wave distribution is a bit tricky. So for someone like me who is coming from heavier but headlight setups, TF40 315 is a great racket to try if you're not happy with the wave distribution of the blade. But the beam thickness is quite similar to each other, so it is giving you some sense of stability. So it is kind of a mix of both identities, Prestige and Blade. But I would say compared to the Blade, it is not as stable, it is not giving me as much plow through. And compared to the Prestige Pro, similar issue, it is not giving me enough plow through because well, the Prestige Pro has both higher static wave and higher swing wave. So TF40 is kinda in the middle, but not giving me enough plow through, enough power to make the frame complete. I added some mass to the top and it helped a lot, but still I would expect slightly more demanding racket, especially that TF40 is the most traditional racket in Tecnifibre lineup. So I hope they will go this one step further and increase the static wave by 5 grams or maybe increase swing wave by like 5 points, and I think this setup would be perfect. Yeah, the feel, amazing. Foam feel racket, specs relatively low, so it kinda enhances the feel because you have better connection, you feel more the impact on the string bed. Yeah, it's absolutely amazing. But for example, I love the T-Fight 305 and T-Fight 305S, and the comfort or the control that I have to sacrifice is not a big deal for me. For me, T-Fight 305S is still a control-oriented racket, but on top of that I am getting much more performance. It is easier to perform well with. The toolbox to work with is just much bigger, and TF40 is a specialized weapon. You're looking for maxed out control and feel, but you give up on stability, you give up on plow through, you give up on power, and yeah, you're left with not enough weapons. Compared to the Blade, compared to the Prestige Pro, I think those two with their slightly more demanding specs are giving you a bit more plow through, so the sense of solidness is a bit more enhanced. TF40, you can call it a platform racket, and Verdasco was playing with a relatively low specs as well, so maybe that is the reason why they decided to stick to these specs, because there is a market for those type of players. Let's mention here Yonex Vcore 95. Similar issues, like the racket itself designed very well, but lacks a bit of personality because the specs are just a bit too low. And there are many players that played in stock form or with small tweaks like a leather grip, some mass at 10 and 2 or maybe at top. But I think those more traditional rackets are a bit more tricky to customize because you first look for stability and plow through, then you want to counter the wave, adding some mass to the handle maybe, and you end up with a much higher static wave or swing wave, or maybe more head heavy balance back again, while you have T-Fight 305, Speed Pro, Pure Aero 98, Yonex ISO maybe. Those are the leaders of the modern game. I would say even traditional rackets like Prestige followed this path, and head team increased the head size from 95 to 98 square inches. So TF40, I think the ground strokes are slightly below the T-Fight 305S. The control slightly on the same level as the T-Fight 305S. Spin potential goes to the TF40 1619. Slices go to the T-Fight 305S. Yeah, I mean, basically for the competition, T-Fight 305S is giving me much more than the TF40. And where the TF40 shines, it kinda doesn't matter that much when competing. Maybe if you're playing for fun, you just enjoy the sense of acceleration, you like to accelerate a lot the racket and it is giving you joy, then TF40 might be for you, because T-Fight 305S is a bit more demanding, it is less rewarding, let's call it that way, but for competing it is my pick. Regarding the customization, I would recommend adding some mass at 3 and 9 and some at the handle, maybe leather grip, maybe just 4 grams at the top of the handle. When you add mass to the handle, it kinda shifts back everything you already added to the head, so sometimes the frame is not responding to the mass, and it's better to just keep it more head heavy rather than adjusting, and after a while you end up with a 360 grams racket. Small tweaks, but very aware tweaks are the way to go with the TF40. But still, I would say mass at 3 and 9 is the best way to go, because you want to keep the frame faster than the T-Fight line. Only then the racket shines the most. The frame is designed towards those aggressive attackers, fast accelerations, setting the tone and be always on the top, dictating the rally. Yeah, I think TF40 is a kinda evolution of the Verdasco's racket, but I would like to see something even more traditional. Maybe then the TF40 line would give me something exceptional, much better compared to some other options like Prestige or Blade. Now it is kinda playing too safe. They don't want to go towards Prestige line or Blade line, something in between, but still with relatively low specs, to keep the group of potential buyers as big as possible, but the racket is too traditional. It should be a very specific solution to very specific player. That's where extreme solutions are often the best. Only then it can really make an impact on the market, in my opinion. Maybe it is a good place to start if you are a frustrated Percept 97 user or Yonex Vcore 95 user, because it is a bit step up in the specs with similar DNA, actually more control than the Vcore 95, similar control to the Percept 97, but with much better connection and feel, and maybe even stability. I would pick TF40 315 over the Percept 97. So there is this spot for this racket, and in general Percept 97 is quite a popular racket, and I would say if it's thanks to the design and not the endorsements, then TF40 should be even more popular. Now, compared to the V1, it is slightly more stable. The twist wave seems to be slightly bigger. Small improvement, but not enough to make an impact in my top 5 rackets of choice. I am quite sad that Tecnifibre didn't go a bit up in the specs. I think the higher specs with this design would play amazingly. Tecnifibre, you know what to do, and I am in general your group of players for the TF40. I think my game style, my player profile even might suit the TF40 line a bit more than the T-Fight line, because I am looking for feel and control, but usually I get the performance from the specs. With the T-Fight line, I am getting more performance from the design rather than the specs. I am still customizing the T-Fight. So if I have two starting points on the similar level, I would pick the one that performs better. So yeah guys, that's it for this review. Thank you for watching, subscribe if you can, and see you soon. Bye bye.